All right, folks, let's check in on the NDP leadership. Because if you want an option other than the guy who is now suggesting his political opponent should have been arrested, and the liberal who's currently running his party like a progressive conservative, then you've got a dog in this race. So let me break it down for you. First up, you got Heather McPherson. She's the only sitting NDP MP who is seeking the leadership. She's been an outspoken advocate for Palestinians, and as the MP for an Edmonton, Alberta riding, she has previously voiced support for the Trans Mountain Pipeline. A prominent theme of her campaign so far has been the need for there to be more seats at the NDP table.
You know, I think that sometimes there are folks across all political spectrums, but particularly within the New Democratic that can have a bit of a purity test.
But the way she worded that, talking about purity tests, has already earned her the criticism of a fellow sitting NDP MP. Then there's Avi Lewis. He's a journalist, activist, and former Much Music host, who also happens to be an NDP nepo baby. But he's kind of more of a Carrie Fisher nepo baby than a Chet Hanks. Like, he's got some strong messaging around billionaires and extreme wealth hoarding. And he's probably got some of the most fleshed out policy promises from any of the leadership candidates so far, including a Green New Deal, a wealth tax, a national cap on rent increases, a public option for groceries, and healthcare that covers everything from medications to mental health. He has gotten some flack for the fact that he has run for the NDP twice and never won, but here is how he's responded to that.
I ran where I lived on a point of principle in communities where I was grounded and enmeshed, and they were both seats that the NDP had never won. Might be past that phase of choosing ridings, but I make no apology for the decisions that I made.
Then there's Rob Ashton. He's a labor leader who worked as a dock worker for more than 30 years before becoming the president of the International Longshore and Warehouse Union. Now he wants to be the voice for workers in Ottawa, bringing the NDP back to its working class labor roots. He hasn't rolled out much policy yet, but there's some excitement around his campaign because of clips like this.
This is a class war, and don't ever let anybody tell you differently.
The final official candidate to announce is Tanille Johnston. She's a city councillor, a former social worker, and she's the first ever Indigenous woman to seek the NDP leadership. And now she wants to shape a more equitable, inclusive, and courageous NDP.
One that's brave, progressive, and impossible to ignore.
And yes, because I know you guys are going to comment, there's also Eve Engler. He hasn't actually applied to run yet, so he's not an official candidate. He says he's delaying his application until he has enough momentum that the NDP can't unfairly disqualify him. Why are you worried about being disqualified, Eve? Because pretty much all the candidates are pro-Palestine. So maybe it's other stuff, like your weird take about the Rwandan genocide. Anyway, that's a summary of where things stand now. Tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern, I'll be live talking to two NDPers who are trying to remake the party. They're not just asking what the party did wrong, but what it can do right. What do you think of all this?